it goes. Oh, are you gonna join the stream today? Our little booper duper? Daddy little boopy doopy?
I think she's getting tired.
Yep, I think it's time for her nap. Snowy dog, hello, how are you? How you doing? Just getting set up here. Cool. Hey Skepsis, how you doing? Jasmine, yo, new game hype. Hey, for those of you who were here yesterday, I was talking about jumping into GMS2 for a little bit and starting a new project. I want to keep the scope very small. I want something very simple, and I just want to put something out on itch. Another game, but this time instead of RPG Maker, I want to use GMS2 to make it like a very, very small game. But anyway, hello everybody, I'm Drifty from Driftwood Gaming, and today we're going to be starting a new project in GMS2. I haven't actually used the engine in a month or two, so I'll be relearning some stuff as, you know, you're always doing, relearning how to do stuff. Sorry if you hear my 4-month-old, she's getting cranky and she's getting nappy time right now, but she's very resistant, she doesn't want to go to nappy time. So we're going to use GML. We're going to make a project using GameMaker language, and this is going to be called Small Project for Itch. And I'll put the date on it too, 9/12/19, just to give me a little idea of when I started this thing. Because I have no idea what we're going to be doing. We're going to figure that out on the stream. GMS2 versus RPG Maker and fight? No. Sora, this is... there should be no fight between the engines. It's like apples to oranges. They're very different things. And they both have their strengths and weaknesses. And I like them both very much. So I want to use them both. And so first of all, I'm going to go into the configurations and make sure we're set to 60 FPS. Because I do think we want to load up to play the game in 60 FPS. New configuration. Oh, it's not configs, it's options in main. Hey, they default to 60. There's a new runtime since I've used it last. We're using 223344, and the IDE is 22333436. Hey Mama Kato, how you doing? Go in options, no configuration, right, yeah, I got it. I knew it was down here somewhere. It's been a little while, but it's not, shouldn't be anything too complicated. Alright, so, I need to figure out what we're going to be doing. I don't want to make an RPG because, well, I would rather do RPGs on RPG Maker. So something that is not fun or something that is not practical to do in RPG Maker MV, like a platformer or something. So maybe we do something like a platformer. Hey, Vega Kid, how you doing? I'm thinking about using a sprite for the sprites instead of the built-in thing, but I do know the built-in sprite editor. Come on, where's it at? Middle center. Is good. It's got a lot of cool features for animating. So if I'm just going to make one sprite with no animations, I might want to do it in a sprite. But then, you know, you have to do the whole importing process, which is not hard. It's just kind of convenient to use the sprite editor inside of GMS2. I wonder if, let's see, what does this do? Flip brush, mirror brush. In Sprite, you have this ability to replicate what you put on one side to the other side. Like for example, let's go File New. I want to have a very small resolution on this because it'll help me when I'm spriting things. So I'm thinking a width of 16 pixels and a height of 24 pixels. Something like that. And Google UI. Let's use a Google UI palette. Excuse me. And this is the symmetry. The symmetry buttons are something I really like in Sprite. I swear my brain's going to function eventually. And let's take like a green shirt. Maybe black pants. I don't think we should have completely black pants. There we go. Some gray pants and maybe darker, I don't know, brown shoes, I guess. That'll work. Maybe not that last one. Yeah, there we go. I don't know about the smile here. Is this supposed to be a beard? I don't know. That's the good thing about pixel art though, is it's kind of up to your imagination what you want it to be. I don't know what this green stuff would be here. Let's just kind of, I don't know, let's take this color and fill this in. Now it's his shirt. But then we would need some transparency, so let's go with the eraser tool. That'll work. Let's straighten up his arms a little bit. Let's soak up this color and maybe put a tile there, tile there, tile there. And we've got a sprite. We've made a little sprite. You liked it with the green more? A little green vest? What do you think, like that? It's got a green vest. Look, making an RPG again, or something else? We're gonna do something else. What gender is it? Is it a stack helicopter? I don't know. Let's save this as green vest man. And export this as a PNG. And then to import it, we can go here. Let's close this. And we'll import using where we saved it. Green vest man. And let's put middle center as the origin. Can be a little bit off middle center. Or we can just use middle center. It should be fine. And we'll call this S underscore green vest man. Okay. Let's make an object, so we'll create a new object, and let's assign green vest man to that object. And we'll call this O underscore green vest man. I think we need to set our, I'm missing the right side panel, let's see, rooms. Here we go. The room editor is there. Yeah, this is what we needed. Let's go to the room, and I think we need to set a camera or something, because we're going to use half of 1280 by 720. So 1280 divided by 2 is 640. So we'll use 640 by 360. That's going to be our full screen. So let's go ahead and rename this to R underscore start screen, or we'll call it R underscore title. And let's go to Photoshop. I mean, a lot of making a game is creating your own assets, so no matter what engine I'm using, I'm going to be creating my own assets, and that's a large part of making any game, right? So let's make a new 640 by 360, and just make something. Zoom in a little bit. In GMS2, what's the best resolution for a mobile game? Probably, it depends on the game really and the play style. It's convenient to have it portrait instead of landscape. So you would probably want a larger X value, or a larger Y value instead of a larger X value. So the opposite of the way your monitors are, because people tend to want to hold their phone like a phone upright. So it's probably more convenient if you don't force your game to be landscape, although we're used to that. Most modern monitors kind of look like that. So I'm going to say a 9:16 ratio, so the opposite. So 720 by 1280 might work well. Vega Kid says the RPG Maker game One Shot was made on RPG Maker 2003. It got popular for a moment. Cool. Super cool. So let's just make a little gradient background. guess I can make a new layer on that and give another gradient, but then I'll go here and change this to something else just to make it look different. And then I'll make a new layer, and then I can do something like this, and go like this. Okay, that looks interesting. What if I move this? What if I move this? Okay, that's fine. And then we can think of a title. We'll call this, if it's a runner or platformer, I'd keep it landscape. Yeah, it depends on the type of game you're trying to make. What's the name of my game, honey? We have no idea what it is yet, but what's the name of it?
Fart, fart, poop.
Fart, fart, poop. That's the name of my character in Path of Exile. Fart, fart, poop. The game. We're gonna call it Mystery Game for now. It's called Mystery Game for now. And we'll save this as A Sprite. I'll make a new folder in here called Photoshop. And we're going to call it Mystery Game Title Art. Save it as a PSD so we can change this layer and call it something else, or make a new title when we feel like it. Save this as a PNG. And what we'll do inside of GMS2 is add a new sprite. So let's create a sprite, click on the import, go in here and select this. And we'll leave that like that. We'll call it S_title art. And leave it like that. And then when we select our room, we can, for the background image, we can select a sprite. Now we have Mystery Game as the start screen. So if we save our project and load it, you should see the title. This is our game's resolution. It's kind of small, and it just says Mystery Game, and that's all that happens. So we have a title screen intro thing. Okay, let's add a new room. Let's create a room, and we'll call it R_start. And we'll change this to the same resolution. We'll keep the width of it. What did I choose? 640 by 360. Now we can have a larger map than this. We just need to create a camera. Enable viewports. Camera properties, viewport properties. So I kind of forgot how to use this, so I'm going to try to just mess around. One of these needs to be like the resolution of the game box, and then one of them needs to be like how far you want to be zoomed in. So the viewport, let's try that, and then the camera, we'll cut that in half, so it's 320 by 180. And I've clicked enable viewports, and so visible, so I can see. And let's make an object, create an object. This will be O_controller. And we'll make this a persistent object that just controls certain things. So let's make it on the create, or we need to check the step. We'll leave the create there, but let's go on the step phase. So the step is going to happen whenever you press. It's going to check every frame of the game. Check every frame, basically. And this is going to only happen check at beginning, or when the object is created. So check when created, basically. So every frame we're going to see if we can make a variable called current room. So let's create a variable called current room. Room equals title. Actually, let's go R_title. I wonder if we can do this. If we set it a variable to the value of a room. So apparently this is an issue. Variable current room only referenced once. But on the step, if current room equals R_title, and keyboard check pressed VK enter. I'm just winging this. So what I'm setting up here is to see if we're on the title and we press enter, I want it to room go to next or room go to start. So then we can say room_go to R_start. This might not work. Like I said, I haven't messed with this in a while. We'll figure it out though. Like once you understand how the logic works, you just got to figure out the right syntax. And then what we can do is on room start, the creation code, we can say with O_controller current room equals R_start. So when we get sent to the start room, we can actually copy this and put this for creation code here as well. This might bug out. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just try it. Wait. I messed up already. Because this is title. It didn't crash though, so that's good. Werewolf CZ, how are you doing? Of course, we didn't set it up. We didn't put the object on the starting zone, the starting room title screen. So it won't actually do anything until we drag and drop this persistent object. Oh, we have to put it on the instance layer. So we'll drag and drop this controller on the instance layer. And it's a persistent object, so when we put it on the title screen and we go to the next room, it'll still be in the database. Might crash. We'll see what happens though. Hey, it worked. So we were on the title screen and we pressed enter and it took us to the start screen. So we need to let the player know that press enter to start. So we'll make a new sprite, or we can just draw text. Let's make an object. We'll call this O underscore draw text for now. And when it's created, it's going to draw text when started. So we're going to do draw text. XY string. So let's just say we want it sort of in the middle. So we'll go room underscore height divided by 2. Wait, that's for y. So room underscore width divided by 2, comma, room underscore height divided by 2. And then the third thing is the string we wanted to say is press enter to start. And we could put this draw text anywhere we want because it's going to assign a X and Y location. We could just write X and Y and it'll use this, so we can do that another way. Let's see if it works right. Okay, so it doesn't have any text, so we need to create a font. So let's create a font, and let's call it F underscore basic font. We'll just call this, or we can call it title font. So let's select a font randomly, semi-randomly. I like that. And we'll set the font size to 24. And perfect. So for this draw text, we need to draw set font to F underscore title, so it knows what font to use. Let's see if that makes it work. Okay, so it's not doing that. Did we put it on the right thing? Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait, maybe we need to put the draw text on a draw event. Let's do it on a draw event. Let's try deleting this event. Normally when you add a draw event, you also have to do draw self. But we don't necessarily need to draw self if there's no sprite, so I'll just do that out of principle, I suppose. Trying to draw non-existent sprite. Okay, so you don't draw self if you don't have a sprite. There it is. You just have to put it on the draw, and you see it starts right in the center. So maybe we can manually center this. So let's see if we can manually center it. Draw something centered. Draw was it align? Draw get H align. Draw set H align. And then I think center is a built-in one. Nope, that's looking for a rear. What are the options in here? You can also middle click with the mouse button to get some information in the help file. Oh, FA center. Okay, facing center. So instead of center, you type in FA_center. And now it's built in, it knows what that is. Let's see what happens if we set the horizontal alignment to center, if it'll like level this out. And it did. So that worked out. Let's set the color of the font to something else, because you can't see the white on the white. So let's do draw, set, color. And then we can use C_ built-in colors, or we can pick a hexadecimal. Let's make it simple and select a red, just a bold red. Mystery game, press enter to start, and if we press enter, it goes to the start screen. So hey, there we go. We got some progress there. So let's do some creation stuff on, let's do some creation code on the start screen. So let's go to the start screen and go into the creation code and say instance create layer, and we're going to create room width divided by 2 for the x, room height divided by 2 for the y. We're going to select the instances layer, and we're going to create the O_green vest man right there. But what we need to do is check to see if the instance exists. If not, then create it as a failsafe. So if instance exists, and then we put in O_green vest man. I mean, what we actually need to do is the antithesis of this. End, enter, close this. So to opposite what you're saying, you go like this. If the instance does not exist, so the exclamation is a not. So if this does not exist, I think you could also just go like this. I think it works both ways. Hello, Katerina, how you doing? The actual name of the game is Mystery Game, for now. Is it, if it's a runner, oh, okay, wait, hold on, it's something else. Right. So let's see if, when we press enter, if it creates our little green vest man that we created. Oh, I've got a syntax error. I need a closing brace here. So let's try again. There it goes. So if we press enter, hey, it created our little green man all the way over there. But we don't have any way to move him yet. And the camera is centered in the top left. So we have to do a couple things. We could make the camera follow the object, which is what we'll do at first, but that's not the best way to do it. So we'll change that. Let's just do that for now, though. Let's make the camera follow the object. Object following, I want it to follow green vest man. A little bit of a buffer, and we could have a scroll speed. We could actually make a scrolling camera plugin script. Excuse me. Are you guys listening to any cool music? Any instrumentals? I think I need to get some music going. That's the beauty. I shouldn't be broadcasting any desktop audio. Let me double check that before I get this claimed. That would be this button, Drifty. Okay. Yep, desktop audio is not transmitting anything. So that lets me put on some music if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and put on some lo-fi video game music. Nintendo Lo-Fi. Let's listen to that. Cool. Very nice, very nice. That'll help me. Some light piano instrumental. Recommend that when you're working on your projects. Okay, so that should work, and the camera should follow Green Man, but we also are going to encounter a problem where we can't move the controller around. So let's do some very basic controlling mechanisms. There's a million ways to design a control scheme. I'm going to use WASD and the mouse for this right now. So in our object controller, which is going to be a persistent object, so this is going to stay with us from the beginning. On the step, we're going to basically, I wonder if we could actually design this with an asynchronous system. I went through a tutorial on it, but it was like more like to detect if you've plugged in a controller or unplugged a controller. For now, I'm just going to do it very simply, the way that I remember, and then off camera, I'm going to keep going through more tutorials to refresh myself. Luckily, GMS2 has a lot of built-in tutorials, and plus there's just a plethora of videos out there. Alright, I think we should just do a simple keyboard check. We'll say if keyboard. Let's first of all, we can define see, it's not the key, it's ort, or ord, O-R-D. I never figured out what that stands for, but it lets you kind of go like this. And that lets you specifically, like, check if you're pressing that key on the keyboard. First of all, I want to define some variables. So let's just go like this and say, control moving the player. Sprite. We can say XX equals, I don't know what I'm really doing, I'm going to figure it out though. So these are warnings saying that you created a variable that has only itself as a reference, so it's not being used, just to remind you that you may have space being taken up for no good reason there. I like sometimes hear voices like yours. Everyone roast Driftwood Gaming? Why? We have problems at home? Oh, I'm sorry, Werewolf. I wish you all the best, my friend. Message me on Discord if you need to. What looks Katarina says, what is now happening on the screen for me looks like this. Oh, we'll crush more dry toads and the strange thing and kaboom, magic. It's really not that complicated. It's just lines of text, and if you're confused, you just press the middle mouse button, and then it describes what it is, how to use it, and shows you some examples. The engine's pretty good at describing stuff. The help file's out of date for sure, but it still has a lot of content to it. What I'm doing now is I'm checking, because this is a step event, which is going to check every frame of the game as long as the object is on the room. It's going to check if we're pressing the W. And if we're pressing the W, then I'm going to say XX equals 1. Actually, that would be up, so let's say YY equals 1. So I'm redefining the value. I bet I could just copy this. This is a one-way, sloppy way. S, and we'll say it's -1. And let's just copy this and go to the bottom. Paste this and say 1 for A and then 1 for D. And now we're going to change this to C. In GMS2, 0, 0 is in the top left. And as you add to the X, it goes across. And as you add to the Y, it goes down, if I believe, if I remember correctly. So we'll have to test this. So if I press A, I want the character to move to the left. That would subtract. So let's go D here, and then A here. So this is the XX, and this is also XX, gonna give it to you. And all that's doing is changing a variable, so that won't make the character move. But what we can do here is say, if so we're defining on the step the value is 0, but if we're pressing W, then we're resetting it to this. I'm trying to make my own controller scheme. It's not optimal, but I'm just going to go through it anyway because it'll help me like see the errors and learn from mistakes. This may not work even. I may need to actually move the object inside the little conditional itself. So if YY, let's start with X. Or we can say while XX equals 1, O underscore green vest man. Roger Listic man, hello, how are you doing? Did I miss something? What kind of game do you create? I have no idea yet. Something that's not really an RPG. I'm just going to mess around, and then if something comes to me, something comes to me. The ultimate goal is to make a small project in GMS2 and put it on itch real quick. Not today, but over the course of however long it takes to just pump out a small, very narrow scope project using GMS2 and publish it to itch. I want something done and published. That's the idea. Because I haven't published any of my GMS2 stuff, and it's kind of bothering me. So I'm going to make something small and publish it. I've given stuff out, but I haven't put it anywhere besides my own website. I made a space shooter called Space Driftwood. That was the closest thing I got to it. In fact, I could probably put that on itch for free. Anyway, what we're doing here is we're going to move green vest man to the right while X is 1, while XX equals to -1. We're going to move it to the left, everything it owns, and a while loop to the left. So this may not work. Might even crash. Let's see what happens. So we should have a start screen, and it should say press enter to start. We press enter, it starts. And if the camera should be centered on the guy, and we should be able to move the object with WASD, but it's not working. In fact, it's crashing pretty bad. So it basically, I've got a bunch of while loops that's creating an endless memory leak. So it's literally crashed. It's crashing. It's going to crash. So what I have to do is terminate it. Okay, so that didn't work. Maybe not using whiles. Let's replace the whiles to ifs. While loops can cause endless crashes. Also, I didn't put any end lines, so that's helpful. Technically, you don't need to for most situations in GMS2. But it's a good practice to just use an end line, which is a semicolon. Okay, so look, it didn't create an endless crash. I've got the W and S reversed. So I'm pressing W and going down, which is not what I wanted. Also, I need to make it so that instead of using pressed, we can do if keyboard check and not press, just check. So while it's being held down, it doesn't just work a single time, it's going to work every frame. So 60 times a second it's going to move. And I need to reverse the Y's here. So if Y is 1, which is W, so that's adding to it would go down. So actually what I need to do is just change this minus minus to this plus plus. Or the other way around where I can change those, but it's fine. Either way is fine. Hey, now I can move my green vest man with WASD. And that's great. The camera should be following, yep, but I'm also allowed to go off of the map. So let's make a background. Let's make a background image for this guy. We're making a little bit of progress. I also want to add one more thing to the controller at the top. So if, actually we'll just copy this. If current room is R underscore start, and we press VK. What is the button in RPG Maker to restart? Is it F4 or F5?
F4.
F4 restarts it, and F5 causes it to go full screen?
I don't remember.
I think F4 does the full screen one, and F5 restarts it, right?
I think so, yeah.
Where's my RPG Maker fans? Does F5 restart? And hold up, I can tell you right now. I can figure it out. I just want to kind of stay with the same. So F4 causes it to full screen. F5 causes it to restart. So we're going to just do the same kind of thing and make the program restart if you press F5. So if we're in the start map, or actually we can just say if we press F5. So if keyboard check pressed VK F5, then room, go to R underscore title. So let us restart it no matter where we're at. So let's save it and make sure this works by going from the title to the start and then pressing. So we're walking around, but if I press F5, we go back to the start screen. Of course, the controller is letting us move stuff around with WASD, but the green vest man isn't a persistent object. So when we go to the start screen and we press WASD, it's going to try to move object green vest man that does not exist, and it's going to crash. So what we have to do is say, for all of this, we'll encapsulate it with if instance exists O underscore green vest man. Then we put all of this, you can press tab, except for this one. And what's going to happen here is now it won't try to move this object. Open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, and this one should close there. Oh, I'm missing a bracket or a brace thing. So it won't try to move green vest man unless there's green vest man on the map. So let's test to see if we can crash it again by pressing enter. We can move around, pressing F5, and trying to move it around with WASD. Nope, it doesn't crash anymore. So we fixed it. Hey, we're getting somewhere. Let's set up a random start location, but it won't make a difference until we can see the background. So let's go back into our amazing art application and make a cool little background. Why are we grayscaled here? Why is the mode set to grayscale? I don't know. RGB color. Yeah, flatten it out. Okay. Let's get the brush. Show you guys my amazing art skills. So we've got green for the ground. We've got some blue sky. But we're going to be able to walk on the sky, so I don't know if I want it to look like that. I kind of maybe need to have it kind of all flat. Let's bring this down a bit. Oops, that is definitely not the color we're looking for. Nope, more green, brown. Lowered, lowered. Maybe I need a different stencil. That might work. But I need it to have some texture so that it looks different. And then we can put like some rocks down or something. I feel like I want to make this an A sprite. Nope, 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 nope. Brown, where's brown? More effort, come on, more effort, Christy. This is just so that we can see that we're moving around on a map, so it doesn't matter right now. File, save as, temp background. I'm not even going to create a Photoshop file, just a PNG. Temp background. That way we can go to sprites, create a sprite, import temporary background, and then call this S underscore temp background. And then on the start map, we can select that as a background image. so that we can see we're moving around instead of just a black screen. Let's try it now. See how the camera moves around? I feel like the camera should let us we got to change the buffer on the camera. So border should be 16, vertical border 16, speed is fine. So we have the size of the entire map, then we have the size of the camera, and then we have the viewport properties. I can't remember if I should lower this down. Let's try lowering the viewport properties to half of the map size. Oh, I need to add more of a border. And this zooms in more, so the viewport properties. So let's do 90, wait, on the horizontal, no, half of that, 160, and then the height would be 90. So that's the border. So now the camera should kind of follow more center the player, right? So the player doesn't look like he's moving too much. But I don't particularly like it exactly in the center, so let's reduce that just a bit. By how much? Well, how big is the X value on the sprite? It's 16. So let's reduce double that. So let's reduce 32. So we got 160 minus 32. Let's set this to 128. And then for the vertical, we've got 24. So that's 48. Oops, I accidentally clicked on. Oh yeah, okay. I accidentally clicked on Visual Studio, which I don't want running. Close that. I have to end the stream very soon. I have a doctor's appointment for Lily today. Unfortunately, this part sucks. It's where she goes to get more immunity shots, and it makes her sick, and she's upset all day, and she's sore, and it's no fun for anybody. And it's just like something you have to do. You've got to get your baby's immunizations. Anyway, we get the calculator. 90 minus 24, let's do 66. Let's see what that does for the camera. I think it should be half of the Y value maybe. Because it's, yeah. So let's do 78. Kind of feel a little bit better. This is a nice little start. We made a restart button. We made a press enter to start. We created a font. We created some title art. I want to eventually make a full screen button. So when you press F4, it toggles full screen. We can lock the character to inside the frame so the player can't walk outside the border. Let's do that real quick before I run out of time. Inside the controller, we just make another condition that checks to see so if the object exists and its current, wasn't there a code for it? Hold up. Outside room. I mean, we could do it. No, I think I should manually code it in. So what I'm going to do is check to see if it's if it's past the room, negative room, no, 0. 0 and room height, 0 and room width. Okay. So if XX is 1 and object underscore green vestman dot X is, okay, so this is when I'm adding to X, which is making it go right. So if its X is less than room width, then move them to the right. So if we're outside the room width, like if we've moved 1 pixel out, it won't let us keep going off the screen. We'll do the same thing for this one right here. We'll add an exception, we'll say, or an additional condition. We'll say, before we move left, we want to see if X is greater than 0. If X is less than 0, then don't let it go any further to the left. And we'll do something very similar for the y-axis. We'll say, subtracting from y would make it move up. Wait, do I have this backwards? Also, we need to change this to y. Room height. And then one more thing. Here. Adding to y will make it go down. Yes. There's the confusion, I think, right there. So we can say, if y is less than room height, then it can move down. And for when it goes up, if y is greater than 0. Then it should go down. Let's double check this little boundary thing, and then I have to end the stream. Why do you make the controls and this object instead of the player object with the sprite and all? Well, because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I got these backwards. Room height. That's a good question. You could do it a million ways. And you could totally put this code right on the object itself. So this doesn't let us go up anymore. That's good. So that's corrected. Let's check all the axes. But it's also not letting me go up or down. Did I got something wrong? So down isn't working. I did just swap these out. Hold up. Let me load this up and search for resolution or movement. I get confused with MV and GMS2. I think they read it differently. Like in MV, 00 is top left and max res is bottom right. The Y value of an instance is the vertical position in the current room measured by pixels can be either a 0, positive or minus, where 0 is the top of the room. Moving down increases to y. Okay, moving up decreases. Yep, so it's the same, 0, 0. And then as you go down, it adds to it. So what am I doing wrong here? When I press S, set it to 1, and when it's 1, add to y, which would push it down. Pressing W would set it to -1, and if it's -1, then it would move up. So it's got to be in the extra conditional I put out right here. So when I'm trying to move it up, if it's greater than 0, it will move up. Oh, .x. I'm stupid. So when I'm trying to go down, if the y is less than the room height, it'll go down. So it was just because I had an x here instead of a y. I believe that was the problem. Now it works. Yeah. So when I try to go down, it won't go down any farther than that. You can see green vest man. And he won't go any farther left than that. If I change my, I could add a buffer, but I kind of like it being able to go slightly off. So that works. We've got a background, we've got a sprite, we've got a title screen, a restart button. We're locked inside of the map itself. A restart button, press enter to go. That's what we're going to end today's stream. I do like the progress. It was from nothing to something. We don't have a game yet, but we've got a little working thing, and that's cool. I'm having fun messing around and relearning how to do some simple stuff. I don't like that I have to go watch my baby get poked with needles, but that's what I've got to do. So thank you guys for coming to the live stream. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Remember to stay awesome. Like this video if you don't like it either, do you, baby? Like this video if you do like this sort of GMS2 content. Yeah, baby's not looking forward to getting stuck with a needle. Skepsis, thank you for coming. Roger Listickman, Jasmink, Jesper Hansen, Smo Valadorn, Mama Cato, Felipe Silva. I'll be following the series. I'm learning GMS2 and trying to make a small scope game as well. Cool, man. Hopefully we can both put a project out on itch. Something very small, just to be like, hey, I made this little thing. Go download it for free. Tell me what you think. All right, guys. If you want to play the last game that I put out using RPG Maker MV, a link should be in the description. It's called Legend of Driftwood. It's an RPG game, an epic adventure. You should go check it out. Download it for free. Yeah, and stay tuned. Friday we'll be doing this. We should be doing this for more than 1 hour. I hope to see you guys there. Come hang out on the Discord. I'll be there before we head out and when we get back. And love you guys very much. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.